Rev up your engines!
Scott calls, he says, "Hey Scotty, I was wondering what your thoughts are on the new 2020 Supra." Okay, it's not really a Supra. It's a BMW Roadster. It's made by BMW in a BMW factory. And I just read that if you get a loaded one, it's going to be close to $100,000. Well, I think it's just kind of foolhardy. I like Toyotas, but I don't understand it. If they want to make a sports car, make a sports car. Don't have somebody else make it for them and then call it a Toyota. The Subarus make their other one, a little sports car. And that's just the Subaru BRZ. It's not Toyota. Toyota doesn't make them. They're made in a Subaru factory. I don't comprehend this big whoop-da, but everybody, oh, the Supra, it's coming back. No, it's not coming back. It's a BMW. It's a completely different vehicle than it was. Just like when Volkswagen made the new Beetle. Oh, look, the Beetle is back. No, it isn't. It had nothing to do with the old Beetle. It wasn't an air-cooled, reliable four-cylinder in the back. It was a water-cooled, basically run-of-the-mill Volkswagen Rabbit, whatever, with the engine in the front. Had nothing to do with it. And in the case of Volkswagen, it had those horrible automatic transmissions that broke down all the time, and people should have sued Volkswagen over them, but nothing ever came of it. The transmissions were horrible. They were all around horrible cars. And I'm assuming this isn't a horrible car. It's high tech, but it's a BMW. It's not a Toyota. You want to buy a BMW? Buy it from BMW. Don't buy it from Toyota. They have really very little to do with making the car. Amelia Cressman. Hey, Scotty, what do you think of the new McLaren Senna? Okay, we're talking about English supercars, and they are cool looking. They're super fast, and they are very rich men's toys. When people have that kind of money. I was at a business meeting once in Seattle with some of these internet dudes that I deal with. One of the English guy was all sad, and I said, "Oh, what are you sad about?" He said, "Oh, you know, I just sold my McLaren because I needed some money to put into my startup company here." Well, if you have to sell a car to get enough money for a startup company in Seattle, you know that car costs an awful lot of money. They're rich men's toys. They're cool looking vehicles, but I mean, the average person, you're never going to get in one. And you certainly wouldn't want to be able to afford either buying it or repairing it. It's a rich man's toy. It's another world, and I'm not part of that world, so you probably aren't either. Fuck Wolf 190. Oh, we got a World War II fan, huh? Hey, Scotty, I want to buy a rally car for the cheap. I think the E30 BMW is the best. BMWs are endless money pits as they age, period. Now, if you've got the Focke-Wulf name, maybe you're in Germany, where parts are cheaper, and there's probably a bunch of old ones lying around in junkyards. Go right ahead and screw around with it. Here in the United States, parts are just so expensive for BMWs, it'd be foolhardy to make a cheap rally car. It wouldn't be cheap by the time you were done. But if you're in Germany and the parts are cheap, go ahead and have fun with it. Just don't do that in the United States. At clock 6, I have a Honda Civic 2000. It idles up and down. The RPMs go way down. Sometimes it even shuts off. Okay, Hondas are notorious for that. The throttle assemblies often get gunked up with carbon. Make your car run better with a little spray cleaner, and it does a very good job. Now, if it's not that, it keeps going up and down. Generally, you got a vacuum leak. And you can get vacuum leaks all over the place. I've got a video for that, too. Finding engine vacuum leaks with a cigar. You can try that, blow around, try to find the vacuum leaks. But on those, it's almost always the throttle assembly gets gummed up and messed up. Hondas have been that way for ages. The DeCio Sendero says, what do you think of Holdens that GM imported in the U.S. from Australia? Chevy SS, Pontiac G8. You think they're better than the American ones? Actually, I do think they're better than the American ones. I've got friends in Australia, and they love them. Unfortunately, a short time ago, Holden went out of business, and they don't make cars in Australia anymore. They just couldn't compete anymore. In Australia, it's like everywhere else. They're all driving Japanese cars around, and they're pretty well built, and you can get little bitty micro cars there. They get great gas mileage, or you can get bigger ones. So they pretty much took over the market there, and they don't make them anymore. But yeah, I had a friend that had one here, an SS, and he loved it. They're fast. The Australians are into muscle cars just like the Americans. So less than 16. Does anyone know the best solution to a 1998 Honda Accord with a subframe rotting away? Should I weld it? In the olden days, cars had a frame. Then the body of the car was bolted onto it with separate pieces. Now, with unibody construction, no. Unibody means the whole thing's one body. It's all welded together and there's no solid frame. The subframe starts rotting on those things. Basically, you junk them. They're not worth fixing. It's just the truth. They just are not worth fixing because the structural integrity is gone. Like even on a framed vehicle, if the frame's rotting away, you can take the body off and then rebuild the frame if you want. It's doable. But still, that's so expensive, it's usually not worth doing unless it's some kind of classic vehicle that you're doing over. For most cars, when the frame rots, and especially if it's unibody, forget it. You just get rid of them. It's not worth fixing them. Highwayman 016515. Scotty, I'm looking at getting a 2005 Honda Civic SI hatchback, 5-speed manual with 77,000 miles. Those are very good cars with the manual transmission. Their automatics were weak, but the manuals are good. Now, that thing's what? 15 years old. I'd wonder, does it really have 77,000 miles? You want actual proof, paperwork, receipts. Maybe even a mechanic you can talk to. Look at if you can get the inspection record. A lot of things like Carfax, I'm not that big of a Carfax fan, but they can give you all of the state inspection reports. And each time it was inspected, it's got the mileage. You have to see that it makes sense that those are all there and it wasn't 180,000 and then the next year it was 70, meaning that they rolled it back. So you want the information of that too. Don't trust anybody when it comes to mileage. Geez, Sutera. Anyone know ways to prevent my car from getting stolen? Car theft is high in Utah. You want to park it in places where it's hard to steal. You got a garage? Put it in the garage and lock it. You're really serious? Get stuff like Viper anti-theft alarms or put in your own anti-theft switch so that if somebody tries to steal it. The thing is, with modern cars, most of them have immobilizer keys anyway, so they're very hard to steal. The only way you can really steal them is if you work at the dealer and you made another key for the car when they sold it to you and they come back and steal it, or somebody gets a hand on your key, back the vehicle up with a tow truck and tow it away. You're never going to stop anybody from doing that. You got an immobilizer. Now, if you have a vehicle that doesn't have an immobilizer, hey, then, like I say, get a system put in. Any of those, car jack, low jack, whatever. Have one of those systems put in because that makes it very hard to steal. But all modern cars, at least here in the United States, they've got immobilizers in them, and they're very hard to steal unless you actually get the key in it. Or if you have a keyless one. Now, the keyless ones are different. Any mechanic or any thief who really wanted to that has a fancy computer can get a blank key on eBay for your car, and if they get in your car, they can reprogram that key and drive away with your car. Another reason I don't like the keyless systems, I like a key. Somebody's got to have a key to start the car then. They can't just do it by messing with computers. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.